Sure, but it doesn't sound good.
Sounds like a jet engine.
It's not made to sound.
Doesn't sound.
We've had to look at it before, but maybe she can't.
Doesn't really take off.
That's certain.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sounds like it's overheating.
Overheating, maybe.
That's the fans.
Yeah.
Okay, we've gone live. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, fellow councilors, staff. Welcome to tonight's regular meeting of council held Tuesday, April 23rd, 2024 at 5 p.m. It's held and transmitted electronically via the council chambers here at 39 South Shore Road in Lake Branch. Before we start, I would like to acknowledge our gathering this evening on the traditional unceded territory of Siouxsie people who have walked gently on these lands for millennia with thanks. Call this meeting to order. Any introduction of late items? None from staff, any from? No. Thank you. Looking for approval of the agenda as presented. Moved by Councilor Banaka, second by Councilor Sandu. All in favor? Opposed, if any? That motion carries. Public input period is next. If you have public input, can we ask that you come forward so the owl can pick you up? And the public input is only on items that are on the agenda this evening. So if you wish to state your name and then your comments, we would be glad to have you come forward.
Bill Garrett, I live at 220 Lake Park Road. And I would like to speak to item number 9A5, Community Forest Co-op. I've been approached by a number of individuals that are a little bit concerned about recent reports. It's our understanding that the co-op obtained a forest license on a mission statement of aiding communities, creating jobs, and improving relations with First Nations. Recently, it has been reported that the board decided to spend in the vicinity of $1 million to buy a residential property on the riverfront so that they have a place for their board meetings. It's my understanding that they only have 8 board meetings per year. And the $1 million expenditure, even if they were spending $3,500 a month rent, 12 months out of the year, it would take them over 23 years to spend $1 million. So the people that are asking me to approach you are looking for the justification. Why the $1 million that could have been spent in the communities for housing, healthcare, and most needed aspects in the community. So if you could deal with that when it comes time for your report, I'd appreciate it.
Thank you very much. I would encourage you, I usually don't answer, but I would encourage you to attend the AGM for the Forest Co-op this Thursday at 7 p.m. at Community Services Building where the office currently resides, and bring your questions forward to the chair at that time. Any other public input? Seeing none. We have adoption of minutes. We have the minutes of the public hearing held on March 26th, 2024 for the rezoning amendment for the zoning amendment. Sorry. Mr. Fernandez.
Yes, this is just, for council acceptance of the minutes of, March 26th, dealing with the public hearing.
Thank you. We have a mover in the minutes. Moved by Councilor Austin, seconded by Councilor Frisbee. Any discussion? Call the question, all in favor? Opposed, if any? That motion carries. Thank you. And then we have the minutes of the public hearing held on March 26th, the same day for the official community plan. Seeing any errors or omissions in there, moved by Councilor Sandu, seconded by Councilor Frisbee. Discussion? All in favor? Opposed, if any? That motion carries. Thank you. Minutes of the regular meeting of council, which was held on March 26th, 2024. Errors or omissions in those minutes? Seeing none, looking for a mover, Councillor Austin, seconded by Councillor Frisbee. All in favor? Opposed, if any? That motion carries. Any business arising from those minutes? Mr. Fernandez?
No,
Okay. We have no delegations or representations. No correspondence tonight?
no correspondence.
Thank you. So we'll move to reports. The first one, I'll move to Councillor Austin for Committee of the Whole.
Thank you. I'd like to move the minutes of the committee of the whole meeting held on April 9th, 2024, with the following recommendation, that the committee recommend that council rescind motion R 0025/24, short-term rentals from the regular meeting of council held on March 26, 2024.
With that recommendation, you're moving your minutes.
So please,
Seconder, seconded by Councillor Frisbee. All in favor? Opposed, if any? That motion carries. Moving to Calvin Lake Recreation. Would you like to take that, Councillor Sandy?
Well, our next meeting is May 27th,
Thank you.
as we recorded last month for the March.
Okay. May 27th for the next meeting. Yeah. And Cooper Island Regional Library, Councillor Howe?
the next meeting is a hybrid meeting in June. That's it.
Thank you. APC, continuing review.
Okay, the advisory planning commission meeting is this Thursday. Our reports are going to be a short-term rental update, because they didn't realize we rescinded that motion, and they thought we were going through with it. A rental only zoning and increased lot density, and that will be the discussion at that meeting.
Thank you very much. Community Forest Co-op, Community Forest Co-op. As advised earlier in public input, the AGM for the Forest Co-op will be Thursday, 7 p.m. at the office of Goliath Community Services Building. At that time, we will be able to ask any questions pertaining to the operations of the Forest Co-op. I think it's prudent that where the answers lie from the chair. I am simply a representative and shareholder of the Forest Co-op, and as such, don't speak for the board itself. So if you do have those questions, I would encourage you to come forward on Thursday night and broach those with the board. There will be a regular meeting following the AGM where members can sit and watch the public can watch the meeting proceed. So within the original Forest Co-op, it was a volume-based tenure that was only allocated to Town of Lake Cowichan and the shareholders. Some of the shareholders are the Town of Lake Cowichan Steelworkers, USW, the Elks Organization, Legion. And subsequently, when that license expired, we approached as a board to look at a volume-based license, which was granted in partnership with Apache Gap First Nation, which is now called Goliath Forest Management. Each community has their own board that allocates funds that are made from the forest tenure of those operations and are divvied out by that respective board. 5 members sit on the Goliath board. 2 are from Cowichan Lake Community Forest Co-op. 2 are from Apache Gap First Nation, and 1 is a appointed non-resident by the community. And within that operation, they deal with the harvesting, the forestry, the planning, the engineering, and then the profits are divvied up 50% each to the Cowichan Lake Community Forest Cooperative and the Apache Gap First Nation. What transpires then is grants are allocated to different community groups within our geographic area, whether it be Yubo, Sachi Lake, Honeymoon Bay, the Town of Lake Cowichan. There are a number that will be reported at the regular meeting that have occurred so far this year, and some more that are coming forward for consideration. And at that time will be a allocation of what has been expended within the communities in the past couple of years. So if we wish to come to that, we will have a considerable information on the operations of the Cowichan Lake Community Forest Co-op and Goliath, as it resides now as a volume-based tenure instead of a land base. We are a land base now and not a volume base. So basically, you're allowed a certain amount of annual allowable cut within your land mass, which is registered through the Forestry Services, Ministry of Forests, allocates what your annual allowable cut will be. Those are put forward for consideration through the Ministry of Forests. Licenses are granted and harvesting is appropriately done when financially feasible. We are one of the only community forest cooperatives that insist that no logs be exported from the forest co-op. A number of communities forests have assigned Canadian Overseas as their broker. And unfortunately, Canadian Overseas does considerable amount of exporting. Within that, we felt that we would like to see the allocation of that timber to local areas if possible. Until the closure of Carlite, etc., a number of species were sent to that manufacturing facility to accommodate production. And with that, thank you.
Very well done.
Thank you very much. That's a brief history, but if you wish to know more, please come up to the AGM and ask your questions. Cowichan Valley Regional District. My notes here. Another meeting tomorrow, committee of the whole, as you know, I chair that committee, and the board meeting will follow. So recently at the CBRD board, there was a resolution brought forward that transit shelters and benches that were located at James Street and the Village Green Mall be removed. That was in consideration of some marginally housed people utilizing them as shelter and regular ridership feeling intimidated and not being able to utilize that as it was intended. And further to that, a letter be sent to the Minister of Public Safety, Minister of Transportation and Infrastructure, Minister of Housing, and Minister of Municipal Affairs from the CBRD board to request assistance with resources and safety concerns related to the use of bus shelters by the unhoused population. And then a letter be forwarded to other local governments requesting their support to raise awareness of the negative collateral effects of the housing and addiction crisis on local government's ability to continue to provide services to the general public, such as bus shelters. And it was also moved and seconded there that Aaron Frisbee be appointed to the Sports Tourism Event Grant Subcommittee. That was brought forward by the Lake Cowichan Recreation Committee, but then has to be endorsed by the board. Also within that report was the waiving of rental fees, the policy be approved as was presented to the Lake Cowichan Recreation Committee. So again, that comes as a recommendation from that committee and the board endorses it as the governing body. Then there was a report from the general manager from Corporate Services Department on renovation possibilities within the second floor of Ingram. As you know, there's a number of improvements that are required should First Nations join the table. Any Treaty Nation would be invited to provide their governance member to come forward and sit on the board. With 9 local First Nations, it would get rather compressed in there for the value. So it was just recommended that staff proceed with detailed quotes and planning for any second floor renovation. Within that is an IT improvement. There has been some glitches within the IT portion, and the WebEx program has problems transmitting at times. So it's looking at upgrading that possibility within the boardroom as well. So that will come forward for consideration at a future date. And with that, I will move my report. Do I have a second?
We don't usually do that.
I'll do it today.
You wanna do it? Okay.
Councilor Mack, all in favor? Opposed, if any? That motion carries. Thank you. Community outreach team. Councilor Austin.
Thank you. I won't read everything because we have lots of minutes, but I visit community services to learn about what's going on within this community. The community services will, once Forest Co-op leaves, they will have 3 offices available in June for people to rent. 3 different office spaces. And their grant for reaching home has been extended for another year. That's where Cameron goes out into the community and they do community luncheons, they take people for showers and things like that, then the refresh market. So that grant was received for another year. Our community paramedic, Robin Long, is very busy. She now has 32 patients in the area that she visits. And she shared with us that funding is available for those who are interested in becoming a paramedic. They're free. So your training is free. It's only 4 weeks. You have to be at least 18 and over, I believe, for that. So that's really important if you're in, they really need paramedics all over BC at this moment. Danny from the CBRD, what? She's asking for clarification. So in 4 weeks, that's what she said.
With
Yeah.
The initial.
The initial training, I think we would do ride-alongs after that, and then possibly they'll have more training after. This would be your first steps, but it's free. So it's to see if people are really excited about that. I didn't believe it either, 4 weeks, but there'll be more, obviously. They probably have to do CPR every single day during that 4 weeks. Danny from CBRD mentioned about the recent cargo pulling championships we've had, and we're also hosting provincials. April 29th to May 2nd, and that means people from all over BC. And cargo pulling isn't boring, no yawning, Bill. It's, we get a lot of people, and the last ones were from all over the island, these ones are from all over BC. And they'll be staying here and spending money here, and it's gonna be great, so. Outreach is a great community item so that you know what's going on in the whole community. We are missing a few people this time, but every month it's a bit different. That's my report.
Thank you very much. Moving on to our Calton. Councilor
Our
Sanders.
next meeting is June 11th.
June 11th. How about Calton Watershed Board?
Our next meeting is this Monday, April 29th. And the Cowichan Watershed Society held their AGM on Wednesday, April 10th. And I was re-elected alongside Kim Pachowski as co-chairs. David Slade was elected as treasurer, and Dr. Shannon Waters was elected as secretary.
So, thank you. No staff reports tonight. Moving right along to bylaws. Mr. Fernandez.
Yes, bylaw 1100/2024 has been given for a second and third reading. It's dealing with the adjustment of council remuneration. And it is here for your reconsideration and adoption.
Okay. Councilor Sanders.
Thank you, since this has become my pet nightmare. Again, the schedule, remuneration schedule hasn't changed for 2024. So then supporting this, we're going against the bylaw because.
We can make the adjustment, I think, can we not? Just
Okay.
for those 2 people.
Well, so we've had February was the 6-week break, and then the next one is August.
Yeah. We'll adjust that.
Anyone else?
So should this be totally.
It is totally the body's right to discuss this, and if you have an amendment that you wish to put forward, that would cost it. Councilor Frisbee.
Just through this year, this one's one of those ones that's dragging on for some reason. Is there some way you guys can just sort out so it is every month? So we can put this issue to bed?
Well, I think the issue is the 6 week separation between
That is the issue.
And we can adjust that, fix it.
So it's just gonna be every Thursday at the end, every last
At
Thursday.
least, all would be the week before. But I think the question, the issue is the August, I think, is a question that we waste. We'll fix the one or two that in question,
It'll be a bigger picture.
just for this.
So your pleasure.
Well, we put it on the floor. And all those-
So it's been moved by Councillor Austin. And it's been seconded. Any further discussion?
So just to ask a question, I don't know, can't remember when we changed this, but we used to always do every 2 weeks, and then there would be 2 times a year, the same
It's
as
adjusted.
this. That we would have a longer, duration in between.
Yeah, the issue is because the change is made in November, so that has cost us significantly. And you kept to an annual basis, we could at least adjust the last payment. Or the last 2 payments, you would have to adjust the amount, because you have to have the total remuneration match your TIFOS.
So what I'm trying to figure out is, I've been at the table 9 years, and the mayor has been here longer, is why did this even get changed a few years ago? And now it's become complicated, because
Yeah.
it seemed to have gone quite smoothly for the
Yeah.
longest time.
And it did go smoothly because council didn't raise it as an issue those days. It's more of an issue now.
Councillor Sanders.
So in the report that was given in, I think it was September 2022. The consultant went over the remuneration and then we had an election that fall, and then all of a sudden, January 2023, this all changed without any input or discussion with council. And then we were given 2 different reasons why. So that's my frustration within all of this, is just what is the actual reason? Explain it, and then we can move on. But to hear 2 different reasons for me is very frustrating, and not having input.
Anything else? Or would you like an answer to that?
No, there's no,
That's just a comment.
just a comment.
So, absolutely.
Thank you so much. Appreciate it. Can I ask why we can't have the option of going back to bi-weekly?
Because of the change, it's November 1st. Because the rates change November 1st. And so that the amounts have to match. We know what it's per month from January to October.
Yeah.
And then we can come up with the November 1st to December. But the thing is, you've got to make sure that the payments match those months. And same as the last 4 months. It's 3 months.
I guess technology.
The bylaw before used to state that this is the annual amount. It doesn't state it anymore. It's a CPI increase, so you don't know what the amount's going to be.
And
So
so
you
we-
can't take the total and divide by 12. To pay you an equal in payments all year. So that's the. And you can't go every 4 weeks, because if you divide 52 by 12, you get 13, and there's only 12 months.
Otherwise, you will get 48
There's
weeks.
always, yeah.
And there's
issues with
52
that,
weeks
yeah.
of the year.
Councillor Frisbee.
Just on T4s, so, I know all my T4s are filed online. There has been some staff members that can't get the T4s online. Was there a late filing or something?
Well, this time you mean?
Yeah,
Because there was an issue when we sent out, I think it was the
There was
fireman's,
an issue with
the fireman's remuneration.
right.
It was the new dental requirement on the T4s.
Right.
And because the firemen aren't on payroll.
Yeah.
The filing was done and accepted, and then actually just recently, we were notified by, so we're not late, but because
They're just not online.
they're not online and they should be in the next week or so.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
sorry if I'm there. If the staff member lost their T4, you guys would provide another paper one,
Correct.
including our boiler officer.
Yeah.
Anyone else? So I will pipe in on that as well. So with the CPI increase, that could be accommodated to not take effect in January. And any increase could be retroactive on the November, December portion to continue with the bi-weekly payment. Is that a possibility?
And then Well, basically, you were talking bi-weekly would mean you would get paid 48 weeks, not 52. Unless we divide it and make an adjustment. It's a little bit more complicated because you have to adjust the last payment, the last couple of payments to match what that added.
And if I may, that is no different than in any other contractual agreement, for instance, where the retroactive portion would be paid on in the new calendar year. So I'm just asking.
Yeah, and we're pick, the employees are paid on an hourly basis for as council.
Right.
The
We're not-
retroactive would make it so that the amounts being paid aren't T4'd in the right, correct periods. So
We're
the-
not employees, we understand that.
No, but also just for transparency reasons, I don't think the retroactive should go over 2 years. Yeah. Just,
So if I may, there are 2 months that can be accommodated in the CPI increase in each calendar year. So November 1st is the CPI increase. November and December would be the increases incorporated within that calendar year. To pay them retroactively in January, and accommodate that in Q4 for the next calendar year would be problematic.
yeah, it doesn't tie in then to the T4. Product purposes.
Adjust it, couple of payments. Just adjust it manually. I mean, if you want to look at January to December as the way to deal with it, it will just mean if you want bi-weekly payments, you gotta remember that 52 weeks of the year.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. 26 is
No, not 26.
So, I think this needs personally just a little bit more. I don't know, it's been a long time, but there was some indication that perhaps we would look outside for some advice on how to accommodate.
We did, we went to Ladies Month,
Okay,
and they're paid the last Thursday of each month.
right.
And so that's, I think, what triggered this whole issue. And obviously, it's not working for a couple of months, but you do get paid each month. And the amount works out just fine. It's just that in this instance, when you were paid early in January. You were paid in mid-January, which was actually 2 weeks early. So as a result, the February payment came at the end of February. So there was a 6-week gap, right? But at the end of the day, you got paid each month. There was no loss of pay.
I think part of the problem is the 6-week gap in the two pay periods that occurs in. And if we can accommodate that being rectified by making it the last Thursday of every month, then I would not have a problem.
Okay.
I would have a problem if it was paid by check, where we would have to come in and do that. So if we can accommodate it, direct deposit last Thursday of every month, then we will move on from there. Anyone else? So I need a motion on this remuneration. It's been moved and seconded.
Maybe, yeah. Somebody just.
Sorry, Karen.
All in favor? Opposed? Councillor Sandu is opposed. Thank you very much. We have the Town of Lake Cowichan Financial Plan Bylaw 1102-2024. Can you read it first, second, and third time, Mr. Fernandez or Ms. Gill?
Yes, Mr. Mayor, the council's had an opportunity to deal with the financial plan for a number of instances. And at the last meeting, the last budget meeting, it was decided to go forward with the last financial plan that staff had presented to you. And so it's here for the second and third reading.
Okay, do I have a mover on that? Moved by Councillor Sandu, seconded by Councillor Formacker. Any discussion? Call the question, all in favor? Opposed, if any? That motion carries. And the 2024 annual rates bylaw, Mr. Fernandez?
And once the financial plan is established, then for the current year, we can establish what tax rates we have to levy in order to collect the amount of taxes that are shown in the financial plan. And for that reason, it's here, it's first, second, and third page.
Leader for that, moved by Councillor Sanders, second by Councillor Austin, discussion on that one. Call the question, all in favor? Opposed, if any? That motion carries, thank you. Under new business, just prior to this, we had the presentation of our audited financial statements. And now is time to approve those financial statements that we have on file, Mr. Fernandez. Is that the case?
Yes, indeed, very much. So you've had an opportunity to have had the audited statement reviewed by council. And at this juncture, I think it would be appropriate for council to approve the audited statements unless you have issues with it.
If you do have any questions afterwards, you can most certainly reach out to Ms. Gill and she will answer them.
From within 48 hours.
Absolutely.
I move.
Moved by Councillor Austin, seconded by Councillor Frisbee. All those in favor? Opposed, if any, that motion carries. There is no mayor's report tonight. I didn't see any notices of motion. Is there any now before we go to the next? Now we have question period, and questions are limited to items that are on tonight's agenda. For those who are off-site, you may call 250-749-2239. That number again is 250-749-3239. For those in the audience, you have 3 minutes to ask your question. We just ask that you come forward to the owl. You'll pick up the video recording, ask your question, and we will try to answer the best of our ability.
I don't know, should I ask?
If you have a question, ma'am, please come forward.
Should I come forward? Yeah,
Please.
okay. But I don't know what question. Is our project approved? Pass?
Oh, your delegation
Yes.
presentation? We have not had a chance to move that forward for further discussion.
Okay,
That will move forward in the committee of the whole next month for consideration of the body here. And then a recommendation will come forward from that.
okay,
So on the delegation of your presentation, we appreciate that. We don't make that item identification at that time. We move it to a future meeting. So our intent is to move that to the committee of the whole meeting, second Tuesday of May.
okay.
And then that recommendation will come from this body forward. And
It will come from the committee of the whole
yes,
and then they,
and then.
on the second week of May.
Yes, let you know how that decision has. been.
Okay, okay. Well, thank you very much
Thank you.
and have a nice day.
You too. Any other questions? Looking for no in camera tonight. Looking for adjournment. Councilor Frisbee, Councilor Wamaka, all those in favor? Opposed, if any? Thank you very much, everyone. Appreciate it.